Hi, and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson. I'm here with Bill Weidecker. We're from the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams. I may not have mentioned that on our last podcast.
Well, you mentioned it today.
Never too late.
Yes.
We're still there.
Correct.
Okay. So we have, for the second week in a row, an article from a recent Wall Street Journal. Actually, it's a full page.
Here's what it looks like.
Here's what it looks like.
Full. When we say full page, it doesn't get fuller.
Unless you fill the left margin. But anyway, okay. So the headline is almost 80% of first-time home buyers qualify for down payment assistance. Which that in and of itself is really, it's a wonderful nugget. And agents should definitely be familiar with, at least they could be the source of the source, familiar with a lender that they can work with to avail themselves of any of those opportunities. And they always exist, whether it's a grant program or a loan program, they're always out there.
Well, it's also interesting to know that 80% might qualify, but 80% don't know that.
That's exactly right. If they're listening, they do now. Or if someone they know is listening.
And, this is a great, the fact that the realtor organization, Realtor.com rather, paid for this advertisement in the Wall Street Journal. It lists 111 things that a buyer agent will do for a buyer. And while not they all 111 don't matter equally, it's an unbelievable list.
It sure is. And it's very detailed. I mean, each item is many lines long. Paragraph. So we're just going to go over sort of each of the categories.
Not all 111?
Not today.
You don't have that kind of time.
You memorize them. We'll do it another time. Okay. So the first category is to help educate the buyer, to build a relationship. And that's really a relationship of trust and confidence, right? So there's a lot that comes into educating the buyer. Our team believes in having a consultation. Before they set foot in a property, sometimes even before they kind of focus on what they think they're looking for, because a lot can come out when they understand what their options are, and that's something we help them get to.
I think it's preparedness versus readiness, which we use all the time.
All the time.
But the education of a buyer is really that, getting them prepared for the process so that when they're ready, they're already prepared, because you might get ready, but it's too late to prepare.
Yes.
So I love that, the education part. The home search process isn't just opening the door. That might be one of 111 things, is I'm going to let you in. But the home search process is much more than that. I think about the times where we've used our knowledge to be able to coax people into expanding their horizons, to look beyond where somebody might say, I only want to look in this neighborhood, in this town or city. And oftentimes there may be other options, right? So that home search process is also about educating them as they go along, so they have context.
Yep. It's home search. Well, they're soul searching, really, because before they have the context, they don't know what their options are or aren't. I think we go back to one to help the buyer identify their goals and their budget. And that's, I'm going to then jump ahead from that to identify their budget. They really, really, really need to be partnered with a loan specialist, mortgage specialist. And that's something we believe in doing right up front, because there's no point in setting goals that aren't realistic monetarily. And there are times when a lender is willing to lend more money than you are comfortable paying or want to pay, because there are other things you want to do.
It's
right?
part of, like, when you think of all these things, they all kind of overlap and weave into each other.
We navigate all that.
Well, yes. And it's part of the education process.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yep. So starting the home search in this article comes before preparing financing. I happen to believe that it should be the other way around, because you don't really know what you should be searching for, what you want to search for.
Yeah.
So in the next one after those, whatever order they happen in, is preparing an offer. So one of the things we do on our team is we go through a mock offer process with the buyer, so that they're understanding the strategies that we recommend be employed to increase their chances of getting a home sooner. And when they get a home sooner in an appreciating market, we're actually saving a quantifiable amount of money, sometimes tens and tens of thousands of dollars. But the point about the mock offer too is it's explaining all of the terms in the offer when they're not attached to the emotional outcome, right? They're not emotionally attached to the outcome. They're not already in love with that cute yellow cape with a white picket fence and really not wanting to hear about inspections and how many days and so forth because they really, really want that house. So we like to have a placeholder for a 20-minute session just to go over what the offering process looks like and have them ask any questions or express any concerns, misgivings that they might have so that we can allay all of that.
When I hear about this mock offer during the consultation phase, I think of consultations and I hearken back to other professions that have consultations, surgeons, doctors, dentists, accountants, lawyers. The reason they want to have these consultations is they want you, again, to be prepared for what's coming. And rather than learning on the job, where I'm going with this is the mock offer isn't attached to all kinds of emotion.
Right.
It's like, here's the strategy, here's what's going to happen, here's what we're going to do, here's what we think is a good strategy for you, way before they've ever found the home of their dreams or they think of their dreams. So that when it comes down to actually writing the offer, they go, oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, this is a good strategy. Now it makes sense. So I love that part.
Yeah. And it's also a good time if they're going to, oftentimes people are getting advice from somebody, a family member, a friend or whatever. And so we always ask that if there is somebody who's going to be involved in that aspect, that they come in, they participate in the mock offer, because then they might have questions that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think it's also really important to note that while it sounds so matter of fact when you talk about it, not everybody does this. Not everybody goes through a mock offer. Not every real estate agent out there is created equal. I mean, I think this is a unique thing that we do.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. Maybe not anymore. Depending on who's listening.
Well, but that's okay.
It elevates the practice.
Well, if you raise it, if the level gets raised. Well, I always think that some of the things that everybody does now, we were doing early on before anybody else did. And we can't attach like ownership to any one thing. You just look for the next thing and bring it in. Yeah.
Yep. So the next category is creating a winning negotiating strategy, which is interesting because the mock offer is where we actually start to create that negotiating strategy. So it doesn't start after the offer is prepared. It is baked into the preparation of the offer. Mm-hmm. So enough said there. And then advocating for the buyer, facilitating the closing. So that is something that we continue to do. It really starts the day that we meet, and we can certainly continue to do that through the process. An accepted offer isn't the end of us advocating. It's sometimes the very beginning of navigating sort of stormier waters, if you will.
It's interesting. Advocating for the buyer can happen also in this mock offer phase, because there are agents out there that, I'll back up. Our team does a really good job advocating for the buyer when they're preparing the offer and writing the offer.
Yes.
To give you, to add to make a finer point there, you did some research.
I did.
What is that number?
Well, we're still compiling that. That might be next week's, but basically, anecdotally, what I know is that we have many buyers whose first offer to buy a home is accepted, meaning they're not having to make an offer, lose out, make an offer. And, everybody hears those stories. Oh, my buyer finally got something after 17 offers. So yeah, I'm working on our average now for the last, 6 months. And my guess, I don't want to guess, but it's very low. And the point of that is, and the reason I did it, everyone's very focused when people are selling property. They want to know days on market and the list price to sell price ratio. But people aren't focusing on, no one has focused on the buyers and the benefit of not having a protracted process of getting a home, right? So it's one thing if you're looking for exactly the right thing, but once you start making offers on things at houses as a buyer, but the longer that takes, the more the properties have appreciated. And so we are trying to quantify that savings for our buyer clients. So when I have that number, I will share it. But
okay, maybe next something to
look forward to. I can hardly wait till next week. Okay,
keep going.
And then post closing activities. Post-closing activities are things like, getting keys turned over, and they list a bunch of things in here, advising the buyers to rekey their locks and Gosh, it is New Hampshire. It's friendly. We don't do that up here, but it's not really post closing. It's advice for post closing, but we also think a little bit differently. We are when we're working with our buyers, we're thinking about being their realtors for life. That's really our goal, and to be the resource for real estate for their friends, for their family. So we're looking out to protect their future. May I give you an example?
Please do.
So there are many properties that have public water and sewer. And when you buy a home where there's public sewer, you own the pipe from the home to the municipal connection. That pipe, if it's compromised, can cost as much as a septic system to replace when you have a private septic. And yet most agents aren't talking to their buyers about whether they should have an inspection of that portion of the pipe. And we are, because that's protecting their money post-closing. And if they're informed and they know that that's a risk they're willing to take, then that's fine. But to not be informed about it is not good practice on an agent's part. And it's not thinking about them post-closing, and it's not protecting their investment into the future. So just an example. Anyway, so that's the article. And the end of it says, buyer's agent help make the dream of homeownership real for everyone. And it's true. And I think just knowing, the best way to serve any client, any kind of client, certainly what starts out with the buyer assistance for first-time home buyers. I think that's great. Just knowing the professionals that should be involved in their process.
Yeah, and it sort of, I love the fact when I saw this, I thought, okay, that lets people know the breadth of the duties that we handle, as opposed to I know what you do. You show houses and you handle paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
It's a lot more than that.
It is a lot more, and it's really assembling a team
Yeah.
that helps. And I don't mean our team; I mean the team of professionals.
Yeah.
Because we really rely on each other. So, anyway, that's it for today.
Thank you.
Again, we're happy to get you a copy of this for roll it up scroll style. Just reach out to us, and thanks for buying.
Peace, everybody.